G'day guys, welcome back to my channel. My name is Wildkard. Thank you for watching the Wildkard Rugby Show. As always, remember, like, comment, and subscribe. Yes, you are here today because it's time to read some rugby news. Now, my phone told me that Jordie Barrett had signed with Leinster, and I was angry and furious and confused for about 2 minutes, as I was pretty sure that Jordie Barrett signed a long-term deal with New Zealand Rugby to 2028, and how did he suddenly sign with Leinster? Did the ink not dry properly on the contract and Jordie Barrett quickly re-signed with Leinster? Did he like cool off on his deal with the All Blacks? What happened? I was so confused. And then I looked into it. It's just a sabbatical, something that New Zealand Rugby has been doing to help maintain their talents, give them a bit of a break to go overseas, make some extra coin. And so Jordie Barrett has decided to not follow his brother's path, to go to Japan, make some easy money, eat some sushi, have some time off, and he decided to go to Leinster instead. Apparently, his dad used to play in Ireland, so he wanted to kind of like follow his dad's step. That's what he said, but in reality, Jordie Barrett is really trying to learn and better himself as a player with this trip to Ireland. He will be going there for the next year after the November test season, and yeah, Jordie Barrett really has the hallmark of becoming a great All Black, probably one of the greatest All Black ever. And the fact is, he has always been known to be somebody that wants to learn and better himself. A couple years ago, I think he was training with the Melbourne Storm here in Australia. When he first switched to play the center position, he wanted to learn and wanted to get better as a center. And he trained with the rugby league team, one of the best rugby league team consistently, and with the coach Craig Bellamy, probably one of the best, if not the best club coach, rugby league coach, ever. And that's what this guy does. He's not out there to make easy money and take a break and whatnot. He's out there to always looking to better himself, and that is the hallmark of being a great All Black in the making. And this was reviewed as well. Like, if he was given bigger offers to go to Japan, and he turned them down and wanted to go to Ireland to learn the method of the Irish. Leinster is one of the top teams, if not like top 1 or 2 in the world right now. And he wants to go and learn their method and learn the Irish way and bring that back to New Zealand. What a legend, Jordie Barrett. I mean, I can't say anything more about this guy. An absolute legend. Full respect for his decision to do that as well. The biggest game this weekend coming up is the Fijian Drua versus Hurricanes. Hurricanes undefeated in Super Rugby right now, and the Drua will be hosting Hurricanes at their home, in Fiji, which is an undefeated home record on the line for the Fijians. Both teams had to make some changes. The big ones for Drua is obviously the 2 suspensions, one to Frank Lomani and one to Koruiduadua, and the big change for them as well is that Isaiah Armstrong-Ravulu, the number 10, has been doing a really good job for the Drua, is taking a break, and Isekeli Rabutu, a 19-year-old, will be starting at 10 for the Fijians. Now, the Hurricanes also made a massive changes, 10 changes indeed for their team. Front rower has been changed. Tara Lomax, probably the biggest one. Salesi Riasi has been added into number 11 jersey with big man here. Naholo going into the opposite side on the wing. But they have made... Aidan Morgan has stepped in at 10 in place of Brett Cameron. And James O'Reilly coming in at hooker. And Duplessis Karefi has getting a start as well in the open side flanker position. But the core of the team, Jordie Barrett at 12, TJ Perenara at 10, remain unchanged. Ruben Love will become off the bench for the Hurricanes. So George Morby will get a start at number 15, but Ruben Love is moved to the bench in that regard as well. So yeah, some changes for the Hurricanes. It's not going to be like an easy walkover for the Hurricanes with so many changes as well, in my opinion. So we'll have to see what happens in Fiji. Yes, something has to give. 2 undefeated records on the line. So really excited about that. George Morby has revealed that he signed a 2-year deal with Montpellier starting next year, so he will be leaving New Zealand after this season as well. Moving on to probably the biggest, most excited news coming out this weekend is the return of Kurtley Beale, and he's going to be returning to play for the Western Force. And I still remember when the Wallabies beat the All Blacks in 2019, where Kurtley scored a try. Oh man, after Jordie Barrett getting a red card, oh man, Kurtley is back. Good days. So Kurtley's back, and I can't wait to watch him play again. Now there's a big name that has jumped ship from rugby league to rugby union this week, and that is this guy, Joseph Manu. He plays for the Roosters, extremely talented, plays for New Zealand in the Rugby League World Cup, I think he did, and he has decided to switch to rugby union, but to go off to Japan. Yeah, so he's decided not to go through the meat grinder at the Blues and try a shot right away with the All Blacks. He has decided to go with Japan to kind of maybe ease himself into the situation a little bit. But he's quite a talent. 164 games for the Roosters, and he's broken the record of run meters in single game with 373 run meters last week. He's an absolute machine, this guy, 27 years of age. And Joseph Manu, potentially one day see him in the All Blacks. We'll see how that career goes soon enough. There was a big recruitment for Rugby Australia to the Western Force as well. Guy Porter, I really thought he might be recruited by the Waratahs, but no, he's actually recruited by the Western Force from the Leicester Tigers. Guy Porter has been a guy that plays centre. I had a few games for England. I thought he was probably good enough to have a consistent. He was just like on the cusp of having a consistent start for England in that centre position. But he's actually, I thought he's very, very prominent player for England. But he's decided to get out of the England system and move into to the Western Force. He actually grew up in Australia. He moved to Australia as a kid at 7 years of age. He went to school here in Sydney. So I really thought he was gonna sign with the Waratahs, but good on him for signing with the Western Force. Moving on to the crazy quarterfinals at the Champions League in Europe on the weekend. There was a massive upset. Harlequins beat one of the favorites to win the championship. What's his name? Bordeaux Bagels, 42 points to 41 in a away game in France in a packed out stadium that was, French fans. They beat him by 1 point. This was that would be a very disappointing performance for the Bordeaux Bagels fans. Maxime Lucu missed a kick. That was pretty easy at the last minute to lose them the game. The winger ran in, and he was on the sideline. He actually ran infield quite a bit before he put the ball down. And I thought that was over. When he ran infield, I thought that was over. And Lucu probably had his eyes off the ball for a split second and missed the kick. That was not too hard. 42 points to 41. Massive upset considering that apparently the Harlequins was beaten by the Bagels basically beat Saracens flogged Saracens last week, and apparently the Harlequins lost the Saracens in their premiership rounds. So it was just how the Saracens pulled out this upset was quite an extraordinary feat. This was interesting lineup. An interesting setup for the Bagels as well. There was a couple big names missing. One of them is Damien Penaud. The week before, when they played the Saracens, Penaud was just destroying the Saracens. It was insane. He wasn't playing this game, and also Jalibert was not playing as well. So maybe that had been the difference, considering there's only 1 point missing. Could have been a difference for the Bagels to have, to have pulled themselves out of the fire. But was massive results for them. Another massive result on the weekend is that the Leinster, the team that Jordie Barrett is moving to, has beaten La Rochelle in the quarterfinals at home. And Ronan O'Gara, every time he was on TV, he was getting booed by his own faithful fans. Irish fans. So yeah, that was interesting to see. But this was a pretty one-sided game. The La Rochelle was pretty much really didn't have anything was pretty much under the pump the whole game. Looked like they were hanging in there at the beginning, but yeah, it was just the Leinster machine was just too good, too fast, and easy win for that. Next up, the Bulls played the Northampton Saints in England in the quarterfinal, and they lost, decisively with the B team. The Bulls director Jake White decided to make 10 changes going to this game, and it was they hung in there early, and then it was just kind of like fell apart completely towards the second. After about the first 20 minutes or so, and Jake White had to kind of like explain why he'd made so much changes, because the European Championship is like more important. Is he really just trying to save players for the URC? I think it's one of those things where there used to be a story, right, where the king had 3 horses, and then there was a guy that was like, okay, I'm gonna race you. The king was like, if you beat my 3, you pick your best 3 horses and you race my best 3 horses. If you beat me, I'm gonna give you all the money in the world or whatever, right? And basically, all the 3 horses were better than the king's best 3 horses was better than the 3 horses of this guy that he was racing with. So what the guy did was, instead of racing his best horse against the king's best horse, he raced his worst horse against the king's best horse, and then he raced the king's second best horse against his best horse, and then his second best horse to king's third best horse. And in the end, despite getting flogged in the opening race, he won 2 out of 3, and he actually ended up beating the king's horses. And so that's kind of like the strategy I think Jake White is employing here. He knows a battle that he can't be won. It's really not point wasting his best horse on that race. He wants to put that into areas where he can actually win. You might say it's a bit of undermining the Champions League a little bit, but it's just what it is. He's focused on delivering the best possible result for the Bulls fans, and he thinks that's the best strategy to go about it. So, it's a bit disappointing for the fans, but it is what it is. Finally, in the last quarterfinal, the Exeter Chiefs got dominated by Toulouse, and this was marred by an eye gouge, as you can see here, on Rory Arnold. And this could be cited, and this is pretty horrendous. Look at that. That is just disgraceful. Absolutely disgraceful. And hopefully this guy gets cited and banned, because that is not what we want in rugby. But they got the Toulouse with Antoine Dupont, 64 points on 26, completely ran away with the game in the second half in this one. And speaking of disgraceful behaviors, the Wallabies duo Tate McDermott and Fraser McReight both sustained a red card on the weekend, and McDermott, despite being cited for striking, had his 6-week suspension reduced down to 3, which is I thought was probably a bit too light. 3 weeks for striking a play on the ground. I thought he should probably get more than 3 weeks for that. And then Fraser McReight, ironically, made a poor tackle. He was high into a tackle, but it was not really a high impact tackle. The player that was on the receiving end of it, what was his name? Havili didn't even have to go off with HIA, so it wasn't really like that big of a impact. And he was given 6 weeks, suspended down to 3, and just makes no sense to me. How could someone striking another person on the ground get 3 weeks, and then this guy made a bad tackle, a light tackle, albeit, also get 3 weeks? I think 3 weeks for the tackle was probably fine, but 3 weeks for striking is just a little bit mind-boggling. But this was not even the most mind-boggling news that came out last week, because this headbutt by Koruiduadua was only 2 weeks suspension for a headbutt. And the entry point for this suspension was only 3 weeks. It was 3 weeks entry point, reduced down to 2. Tate McDermott was entry point 6, reduced down to 3. How did this happen? How could this headbutt only 3 weeks blows my mind? Only 2 weeks, absolutely blowing my mind right now. Super Rugby, the judiciary is an absolute joke at the moment. But Frank Lomani, elbow to the back of the head, 6 weeks. I think that's fair enough for him. But yeah, it's just like so unbelievable how poor this is. Like someone who made a bad tackle technique gets longer suspension than someone deliberately headbutting another person in the head. Go figure that one out, guys. Go figure that one out. Anyway, speaking of the Rebels, that was a very impressive win on the weekend over the New Zealand team, the what do they call them? The Highlanders. And yeah, Darby Lancaster, 3 tries. The honey keeper. His family makes honey apparently. But yeah, really, really good win for the Rebels. And I think I have a little bit of theory. The Rebels are currently operating without like the supporting stuff because the club is going bankrupt. And the players are putting on like the best performances. Maybe that's what we need instead of, stop spoiling the players and just get rid of all the support staff, right? Stop like doing everything for the players and let them handle themselves, go through some tough times, and maybe that'll build some more resilience into these players, and maybe we'll get some better results from all the other teams in Australia as well. Just a thought. Mick Byrne has been announced a new Fijian coach to succeed Simon Raiwalui. Anyway, to succeed the former coach. The coach was Raiwalui was already like a late addition to the Fijian team last year. So yeah, Mick Byrne is stepping into that spot. And he's currently the Fijian head coach at the Honduras. And he's been doing a great job so far for the Fijian Honduras. So yeah, we'll see how he goes with the national team. And Ken Owens, the veteran Welsh prop, has announced his retirement, and he was captain as well for a while for the Welsh team. And 37 years of age, he's called his time for rugby. This guy, Mohamed Hawaus, he's a French prop, and he has been sentenced for striking his wife in public. And so he was basically dropped from the French national team, and he is been given a second life at the Montpellier club with Mohamed Altrad. Altrad, the sponsor for the jersey, the billionaire guy, has given him another chance to play rugby at Montpellier. And Altrad has highlighted that the reason he gave him a second chance because his club's commitment to social inclusion and rehabilitation, considering that Altrad himself he's been in jail for a bit for corruption in rugby. But yes, he will be very open to rehabilitation of the financial type, I guess. He's giving him another chance, this guy. Next up, Courtney Lawes. He actually played on the weekend for the Saints, and he had a back spasm apparently. And it was a bit of he scored a try as well. And apparently he's really getting there. He's just like, hopefully it's gonna be okay. Anyway, there's been some talks for a women's Lions tour, and the Royal London has pledged £3 million to support the women's Lions tour potentially happening. So we'll see how that goes. Next up, Cameron Suafoa has revealed that he is struggling with cancer. This is very unfortunate. He plays for the Blues, only 25 years of age. Wish him all the best, and it's very, very sad news to hear. Panga Amosa has re-signed with the Western Force. Man, the Western Force is looking a little bit stacked at the moment, and a potential return to the Wallabies. He's a hooker and 14 caps of Wallabies in the past, and he's returning from Montpellier, and we'll probably see him at some point in the future in the Wallabies. And finally, Josh Kemley has decided to go to play with Northampton Saints. He is currently with the Melbourne Rebels. I mean, there's no. I mean, this is a lot of the Rebels players are looking at different places to go, and he has revealed that his decision to go to the Saints, obviously the top team in England right now, is the fact that he wants to learn and better himself as a player. So we'll see how that goes, and with the Wallabies selection laws starting to being changed potentially, there's some talks that Joe Schmidt will have the Gatos law, the domestic selection restriction law, completely scrapped. So there's a chance that if he does well in England, he could still be selected for the Wallabies. So yes, that's the news for the week, guys. Let me know your thoughts. Let me know your thoughts about 2 weeks for headbutt and then 3 weeks for a poor tackle technique, shoulder to the head. Let me know your thoughts on that, and like, comment, subscribe. Thanks for watching, and check out the merch. Have a good one, guys. I'll see you guys tomorrow for Super Rugby reviews. Cheers.